Yo, what's poppin'? I'm coming back with another preview. I'm doing it in Showtime airing like order, so like this match and the next match, you know what I mean? So first was the Shock Washington. Now, right after that is Florida Atlanta. This is going to be the closest of the four first round matches in the West. Makes sense because Florida's number four, so they didn't get to choose. So theoretically the strongest team should be left to face them because all the other teams would pick the team they think is easier to beat. Um, Maybe true. Okay, fourth place, Florida Mayhem, 4-2 with a +7 map differential against the seventh seed Atlanta Rein, 3-3 with a +1 map differential. So Florida playing Atlanta first week, losing 3-1. Then they play Paris, they beat them 3-1. Then they play Vancouver, who they beat 3-0. Then they play Houston, who they lose 3-2. Then they beat New York 3-0, and then they beat Washington 3-1. Whereas Atlanta, that same first week matchup, obviously, so they beat Florida 3-1. Then they beat New York 3-0. Then they get 3-0'd by Washington. Then they 3-0 Vancouver. Then they get 3-2'd by London and get 3-0'd by Gladiators. So the story for Florida is, are they actually good? The only team the only teams that they have played that made it into the top 8 was Houston, Washington, and Atlanta. They lost to two of them, and they beat Washington, who was the last team to get in. So are they actually a team? Oh, whoops, sorry. Are they actually a team worthy of this 4-2 record? Uh, I think yes and no. Definitely, definitely better than probably the bottom. Probably better than Atlanta. Maybe, I don't know. The answer is yes and no. Do they deserve it? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't they? Uh, are they a favorite in this matchup? Depends on who you ask. Uh, I think yes, as it is right now. I think yes, but I think this is going to be very close. Or Atlanta will sweep them. I think it's going to be either very close or Atlanta will for sure win. Those are the two in betweens. Moving over to Atlanta, the question with them is: Are they? How hurt is their ego after losing 3-2 to London and 3-0 to the Gladiators? They came into this stage. They looked really good. It looked like they might be one of the best teams with their Doom comp. They ended last season down below. You see with a pretty big bang, coming second. Of course, getting 4-0'd, but no one really expected them to make it that far compared to Dallas or Shock maybe. And they've beat some good teams. And by that I mean no, they haven't. They've beaten Florida only. That's considered a good team. And then they lose to Gladiators and London and Washington. So it's been a very odd road for Atlanta. They play like the Doom, right? They play the Doom, but it's like a slow Doom. It's like Houston's Doom is very fast. They set the tempo. They go quick. Atlanta's Doom is like they wait for an opportunity to dive. Moving on to the players. Maybe I should have done this first. Florida most often playing someone Hydron Checkmate, who is listed as a tank here still, which is very funny. Uh, Animo and Sir Majed. Kariv is there, Adam is there, and Xe, I believe, is not there. He is on ping whenever he played his one map. So pretty locked in with their roster. No changes there. Atlanta playing everyone on their roster except for Speedily, who's underage. It doesn't even have a picture. Neither did Termajet, actually, but I found one and I put it in there myself. Uh, that's why the proportions maybe not correct. But Atlanta's main composition being Hawk in, Kai, Nero, OG, and UV. Gator comes in every now and then when they want to play some Winston or they want to play some Rein, but it's not looked great. Venom comes in when they want a Tracer for sure on that map. He is basically a Tracer player only. They've made some odd substitutions with him, like against the Gladiators, where they want to put him for Circuit Royale. Not sure about that one. But yeah, both teams pretty much have their starting roster. You can more or less know what to expect from them. So let's talk about last season for these teams, the results they've had. Florida, not a good season. They had a third place finish in the May Melee last season. So that's interesting. But other than that, they've showed no signs of life last season. It was just not good. It was not the year of OGE. Whereas Atlanta had seen some pretty good success last season. They went to Hawaii 3 times. Florida went there once, which is surprising enough. But yeah, they go to Hawaii 3 times. They come second in the league overall, losing to Shanghai. And there's some expectations for them, and that's why we thought they were so good, because we thought, oh, even though they've played some weaker teams at the start, we believed in them because they had a history of being good last season. But of course, they lose Hunter, and it's not as good as a season. So, anyway, final thing for this series. Neither of these teams, their power levels are pretty similar, right? Neither of them look like they can punch up into like challenging the Gladiators per se, or something like that. But it's going to be a close one, I think. If the Atlanta Rein get their ego back, they win some maps early, they start feeling themselves, for sure. Could be a dangerous team. Could find some upsets. Florida Mayhem, someone's been spectacular. Hydron's looked great. This team has looked great, right, when they play. Their loss against Atlanta earlier this season, I don't think is too indicative of how the series will go. People weren't sure about how to play Doom, how to play against the Doom comp. We figured it out since then. The meta's changed. So that first week loss, not too concerned about it. A little concerning, the Houston loss, to be honest. But Houston plays the Doom a bit differently than Atlanta. Perhaps more effectively, you could argue. But I'm going to give the edge to Florida. I think this will be a 3-2 Florida victory for my pred. Could be close. Maybe, I don't know. It's too hard to say. But predding Atlanta is absolutely justified. And they absolutely could find a way. Also, though, they have no answer to the Rein comp, as we saw against London and Gladiators. And Rein has been a thing. It has been real in some of these matches. So if Florida come out and they say, we're just going to play the Reinhardt comp because you clearly don't know how to beat it, and at this point Atlanta still have not found an answer, that's that, and the series will be a wrap. But nonetheless, I am predding 3-2 Florida, and should be a good series. So that's it for me. Probably won't do another video today, maybe, who knows. But give it a like, give it a subscribe, share it if you want to share this with anyone. Maybe you want to see their take on what I said or something. Anyway, yeah, have a good one, and deuces.